The silence in this case is deafening right now. Do you feel it? Are you like impatient like I am? Oh my God. Welcome in, everybody. It's Monday, March 9th, 8:54 a.m. Eastern. Yours truly finally got some sleep because I have not been sleeping with the changing of the clocks and what's going down with this case, especially for me. I have not been sleeping. And the silence is deafening around Nancy Guthrie. So I want to talk about a few things today. I want to talk about um, what it's like for someone like myself, a psychic medium, to be waiting to see if I'm accurate, and what I did to, um, well, I entered in, I asked chat, I asked 3 different AI programs to to act like a forensic astrologer. And got some crazy results, which I'll talk about. And then I want to just answer a few of your questions. But I want to just start by saying I've laid my theory out there. There's a few things in my head that I'm trying to piece together that don't maybe line up yet, that make me pause. And I would also ask you guys to listen to the whole video because the one that I did with the tarot reading, I don't really pull tarot anymore, and I'm kind of leaning away from that now, to be frank with you. And let me just explain a little bit more why. As I've said, I started volunteering in 2018 as a psychic medium, and really karmically at the same time, I was actually in Florida at the time I was approved, even though we're Canadian. My dad had moved on to go to Florida. Um, he'd always wanted to live in Florida. And my parents had been going there for winters for years. And so um, when this all went down, if you don't know, my dad was defrauded of all his money. He had dementia. My power of attorney was ignored. It was even worse than that. I'm not even going to get into it. He had been in the hospital where he'd almost died because he went into alcohol detox and trying to defend himself in the divorce with my mom, who stole all his money at that time. And with dementia, not knowing he was diagnosed yet, although my mom knew. I found evidence my mom knew, which explains why she would leave him after 50 years of marriage. If she hadn't been working since I was 19. I'm 56. I ought to tell you something. But anyway, I digress. So I was in Florida detoxing him, or tried to. That's a whole other game and a whole other story. And someday I will write the story of what happened to my dad because it reads like a book. It really reads like a book. And so today I thought I would get dressed and step it up, but the reality is I still suffer from PTSD from what happened. It's a story. Like, I mean, it's a story. Trust me. It's people have said it's book worthy, but because there's lawyers, um, three lawyers specifically and a judge who are my dad's partners who defrauded him of all his money, business partners for the deal in Florida, go figure. And one of them with my mom in Canada and put the illegal on his houses in Florida, and then left him to die where he was read his last rites because he didn't have any money for prescription or pneumonia. I had no idea until I got the call from the hospital. So I'm going to step it up and not be in my pajamas anymore. But I really, truly suffer from PTSD and from financial fraud. Still, the fraud, the finances have really impacted myself and my daughter. The economy in Canada is not great. And so when I'm in my pajamas, that's my reality. Especially being an empath and an intuitive and working on cases. And then, so yeah, anyways, I'm very tired still. My dad regrettably passed away in June of a massive heart attack, which I still can't. I mean, the only loving parent I've ever had. And there's times like I'm going to cry now. Sorry. Sorry. My dad was a land developer and I worked with him for 10 years in real estate. And in this debacle, when we were stuck in Florida in COVID, when I realized what had happened and who had done this to him, he was literally gut-wrenched that my sister and my mom would do this to him. So sorry. I gotta pause here. I'm gonna try to stop crying. Anyways, there's moments like where I just miss my dad so much. But I'm so lucky as a medium and a psychic medium that my dad comes in. And I can feel him and I can smell him. And some of you have been here on a live when you heard like I'm on the live and some of you were like, what the hell was that big bang? I was like, Dad, his ashes are here in my second bedroom here. Um, anyways, I understand a lot, and that's why this case is about the elders and abuse and what this theory is that I have, if I'm right. I get it personally. Um, okay, so but I'm not gonna mention because I am mindful of Brian Enton's last reporting, and it's true. You know, we can have theories all day long, but we can't we really can't be trashing somebody's reputations and names out there. So I'm trying to be mindful of that. At the same time, as a psychic medium, you know, I can only detail what I'm getting. I can't, I'm not interested in making things up. So that becomes a challenge. So I have to kind of talk in innuendos and, you know, be careful. So I would suggest for those of you that are new, by the way, welcome. I love all the newbies and I love all my truth and faithful who have been through me through this emotional roller coaster as I recover from my PTSD. So, and trauma, because like I said, it's a story. If you've heard some of the 911 calls I had to make, you would be gut wrenched. Okay. And it was just my dad um detoxing and on the meds and the dementia and just anyways, it's the whole thing. Like I said, it's literally book worthy. And it was too traumatic and I was gonna write it in a pen name because of the liability with the lawyers and a Florida judge who was a partner in that firm. So, because there's no law that allows for what they did in any state in the United States, okay? Not a law. There's no law. But these lawyers and judges did it. My dad's partners, who meanwhile screwed him out of his money. So, and gave my mom all of it. It's a story. It's a story. And she still to this day has stolen his FERP to return. So it's wild. So it's very hard to recover from financial abuse, especially when you're 56 and the economy in Canada is wretched. And I've only done real estate, let my real estate license go, and was coaching at the time, ready to build my coaching business out. So I understand this case and the dynamics specifically if I'm right, going back to what I have said. So check out my various theories, or not various, my one theory, but my various videos where I'm talking through it. In fact, when we weren't even sure at the very beginning whether these were legitimate ransom notes, I was doing lives. I did like 2 or 3 lives of Nancy before I started this format. So you can go check out the lives. And I was literally, before the video came out, that there was in fact a note, a ransom note. I was on the live saying, I think the note's real. Now, whether real is a whole term, right? But I think there existed a ransom note. And sure enough, 2 hours later, it went out that there was a ransom note. I believe that's all part of the play. Okay. It's part of the play. And I use the word play because I really feel there's a play. And I'm even, if I could show you a Netflix series that I watched last night. Okay. I started watching a Netflix series of a missing child. Okay. If I could find the name, let me pull up the name because I can't show a Netflix clip here. Let's just say there's a clip in that movie that I feel somebody copied. Let's just leave it there. In one of those strange moments in the case among the many, And not the doorbell guy. Let's leave it there. Okay. Let's leave it there. So there's references to Silence of the Lambs. There's a lot of weirdness in this case. Anyways, go back and check out everything that I've been saying if you've missed some of the earlier videos. And please, I check all your comments. I so appreciate all you newbies. I really, really do. And I really appreciate everybody that stuck through me through the thick and thin. But if you're going to just be mean, I'm going to just delete you. Okay. So I want to address one thing about the spiritual aspect, and somebody commenting God does not, God, psychics are not in God's world, if you will. Let me just pause here for this. I can appreciate all religions, and I can appreciate how people feel about this. And honestly, it's taken me a long time myself, and many years myself, to accept this about myself. So I get it. It's weird. I feel it too. And most psychic mediums do as well. But I want you to understand something. Not all psychic mediums are equal like anything else. Not all doctors are amazing doctors. Not all lawyers are amazing lawyers. Not all police are amazing police. In fact, my friend Jim, who has been paralyzed, has also suffered from the lack of justice in Canada here. So if he comes on one day, we'll talk about that. But his girlfriend left him to die on a road after turning the car over in January, just a month after this happened to my dad. Actually, a month, almost to the day. And he and I have been friends for 40 plus years. And I asked him the other day on the phone why she wasn't charged. And the police officer was so worried about trying to save Jim's life because he literally almost died. He was left to die. She went and called her mom to drive her home and left him to die in the road after trying to remove him from the car multiple times, which he's not so sure didn't do damage because he'll never walk again. But anyway, all that to say, the police officer forgot. He was so worried about saving Jim, which I respect, but literally forgot to lay charges on her. Okay, so the justice system is not perfect, period. Nobody is perfect. Not a psychic, not a medium, not a cop, not a judge. I don't care what you are. There's no perfect person in any career. I think we know that, but I think sometimes when it comes to the application of it, we forget. And just like not all psychic mediums are meant to work on every case, not all psychic mediums are going to be 100% accurate. Some are phony. In fact, I was 18 and I was told by a psychic medium about one of these fairs that I would have a violent early death and that I would have a boy and a girl. And I lived in terror with that for years until I had 2 girls and realized, oh, she was wrong. So luckily I had my kids young. It was scary for a few years, So I just want you to take that with a grain of salt. That not everybody is going to get this right. And I don't know if I've got it right. But I've been really freaking out and sent Kelly a few emails in the background for Kelly. Because I'm like, holy crap. It's the first time. Thank you, Dad. I could just feel my dad touching my hand there. It's the first time that I check 3 different AI programs to ask it to act as a forensic astrologer to see what my findings are in comparison. Well, I just about pooped my pants. So you understand, I did a video here in location for Nancy. I did one and I stopped at the Oro Valley Hospital and I said that I felt there was something around that hospital. And then I kept going, but I did that privately with my eyes closed for the most part, just to open once in a while, make sure I wasn't like way out in, Australia or something. But for the most part, I just like feeling the energy, and I can feel as a Reiki level practitioner, I can feel it's like I'm acting as a rod. If you've ever seen forensic astrologers or psychic mediums use, the rods and whatnot, this is the same thing. They're an anchoring and they will point, they can feel the anchoring in. So basically I'm using my hands as an energetic rod, and I can feel when I've got my hand on Google, I can feel it in my fingers and my palm, and it's literally kinda pulling me, and then if I move this way, I'll lose the connection will or, dissipate a little bit. So then I know, okay, go back and then go up, and then it's like I can feel it pulling. That's how I arrived to the specific address I gave in my report through the Find Me group, a very specific address. And, this home has markers, um, that show up in the forensic astrology, which were very interesting. And I then asked it to chart the location that I gave. Um, this home has all the markers that I wasn't expecting to show up in the forensic astrology. And it also, um, according to the forensic astrology map, and I've used 3 different ones, lands kind of dead center in her map. So that kind of has blown me away because, as I've said before, I have found a missing child. Now, it's not like I found a gazillion of them, but I joined the Find Me group in 2018 in the middle of this traumatic episode with my dad. And because of the stress and everything, I leaned on tarot because I wasn't trusting what I was getting. And while I'm not 100% over what happened to my dad, I'll never be 100% over it, to be honest with you. I'm not crippled by it like I was before, and the anger and everything else. So I'm getting my connections back. It also happens to be my Saturn return, if you know anything about astrology, which is so karmic. And my astrology actually lines up very densely in this case. So, in other words, I have found a missing boy before. I feel better again, since 2018. It's 5.5, 6 years later, when I first joined the Find Me group. I guess, sorry, 2018, middle of, so let's just say 7 years because uh, almost 8 in August. And I found that little boy that was missing September 1st, and I had just been approved like middle of August. Early, I can't remember the date because this happened to us August 5th or 6th. So yeah, it would be sort of early August, mid-August. So I feel like I'm strong again and I'm getting my readings accurately again, which is why I had defaulted to tarot. But I'm not super fond of that, to be frank with you. Okay. But if I'm not going to get information that I'm curious about, I'll use it occasionally. But it's not like I don't think they're accurate, but I prefer to work in this world, in this vein, if that makes sense. But I had to get myself into a position where I felt healed enough to trust what I was getting. And if you've been following me all along, you know this story. This is nothing new. I've spoken about this openly. And if you're new, and you want to go back and check. By the way, thank you for all the members. I have specifically several videos in there of channeling Sebastian Rogers. There's quite a few. There's, 40, 50 videos in members only, including some very introductory learn tarot lessons and my meditation that I use on how to connect with my guides. There's different things in there. It's $2.99. It was the lowest that YouTube would allow because I'm Canadian a month. So thank you for that. But anyways, I digress. So I just want to say, I was blown away. And so it's extremely hard to sit here and wonder because I still think she's alive. I know that sounds crazy. But her astrology says that too. Okay. Um, and just for those of you that don't know astrology, I never believed in astrology. I really didn't. Um, but what happened to my dad is in my astrology, that I would be the one. My daughter having to carry a financial burden because I haven't been able to hold work with my PTSD. I've been laid off for like the stupidest reasons. Um, and it's been a journey. And she's a nurse, and so she could pick up extra hours. Well, that shows up in her chart that she's helping the family burden. Okay, so I believe more and more on in astrology. It's again a question of who's doing the chart for you, if they're accurate, if they're good. It's very intuitive as well, astrology. So I'm very stressed and haven't been sleeping, wondering if they're going to take me seriously. What if I'm right and they don't take me seriously? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's really a lot to carry. This is an 84-year-old woman we're looking for here. Um, so yeah, so I've been quietly in the background watching JLR and other psychics come on and give their theories and trying to hold energy and space and prayers that they will find my tip useful because of the address and the specific details. Now, they're going to have to do some due diligence to piece the facts together to see that there's an accuracy there, and I don't even know if they will take the time to do that. I mean, truthfully. Um, so it's hard, and so pray with me that we find Nancy, and I don't care if I'm right, if she's found, but if they're ignoring me because here's the thing, they're circling around close to the home. She's not there, in my opinion. She's farther out, and that's what her chart says, farther out, not immediately around the home, contrary to everybody's belief. So, um, as far as psychics in the Bible, I was a coach, when this went down. I lost my coaching clients because of court orders, having to run to Florida. My dad was a runner. He would very independent lawyer and, wanna take off and get for a walk and get, presumably possibly get lost. It's happened a few times. Or, he with dementia be, doing something dangerous where he was gonna electrocute himself or burn himself or whatever, and I'd have to drop my calls or pause my calls, and I was being paid $250 an hour US for my coaching, which is standard in coaching for realtors. And so I lost my clients. And so, and I was a wreck. So who wants to mentor a coach as a mentor when that your life is falling apart? I mean, I don't blame them whatsoever. But I had been coaching through this ordeal. Some born again people from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and a whole team. And they paid me thousands every month because I coached the whole team. And they were born again and they knew about my talent. And they said it's actually in the Bible. And so for those that don't believe of this, I respect that, I get that, but it's not if I'm here doing work and I'm able to find people, which I did, that little boy, how could you call that evil? How could you possibly think that's evil? I think we all have to say, whatever religion we're in, there's more to this world than we could possibly ever know. Our brains, like I would say with autism with Sebastian, we only use 10% of our brains. Factually, we know that. And so for someone like myself, perhaps is using a different part of our brain, just like autism. There's so much we don't know. So I understand it's very perplexing for a lot of people who don't understand it, and myself as well. Like there's times where I'm like, I really didn't want this, truthfully, in my life. So just yeah. And for those that don't know my tattoo, it's a Reiki tattoo. It says energizing me. When I do Reiki, it says energizing me because it's a reminder for myself that the energy in, energy out, to monitor what you allow into your life and what you put out because everything is connected. Everything is energy. Food, sleep, thoughts, people, all of it matter. And so our positivity around this case matters. So please don't lose your hope. And what else do I want to say? I do want to also just mention a lot of you have said, tell JLR and Dolly or whatever when he was there to send your address out. And I haven't done that because I do believe she's alive with people keeping her captive inside a house, and that would be very dangerous. And it's far-fetched. I get it. But again, it's in our chart. So we'll see. We'll see. So as far as when this is going to be resolved, her astrological chart, sadly, I read it at the very beginning, says like May. Got goosebumps on that one, which I don't like. I don't like that. That's like a validation, and I don't like that because that's way too far out. Way too far out. And that also makes me believe that they're not looking at my, if that's true. I feel like, and I'm being told by my guidance, it's this week, Monday, March 9th, this week, in the next 7 days. If it doesn't happen this week, I think we're going to be waiting for possibly end of April, May for her to be found. Her chart says she's a strong woman. And this will be life-changing for her when she comes out of this alive and is found. No kidding. So I'm hoping and praying that it's this week. Keep your thoughts out there. And if I'm wrong, hey, so be it. But if I'm ever going to be connected to a case, this is the one, because of my own experience, because my chart says it. And interestingly enough, apparently, the Find Me group is located very close to Nancy, right? I'm extremely low, like my chart shows like I'm really dialed into Phoenix, Arizona, like that part of the country for some reason. So if I'm ever going to be right on a case, this is going to be the one. And I have found another little boy before. So it's very, very hard waiting. Very hard waiting. So say some prayers for Nancy. And thank you all for being here. And let me know if you have any questions that you want me to answer or address. And because I do read all your comments. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I've been wanting to call JLR on this live, listening to others like Mediums Marine come in and, but I don't want to, it's just not the right way to go right now for me. It's just not the right way to go. I'm holding space and intentions that she's found and she's brought home alive. And I want you all to do that too, if you can. And I love you all dearly. And I appreciate you all dearly. And I want you to know how important this community is, true crime as a community. You following it matters. It's your energy. It's a collective. Do you feel the community of true crime? I feel the true crime community, even in just watching, the interview room, Duty Ron, who else do I want to talk about? Oh my God, Surviving the Survivor. Like there's just a gazillion, not a gazillion, you know what I mean? There's so many podcasts out there and true crime channels. And Brian Enton and Ashley Banfield and Nancy Grace and Billy Politan. And there's most of us all watch each other's channels, no, I don't know about mine, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's a community out here and most of you all watch these same channels and it's like we're a community and you can feel it and it matters. It matters because of the energy that we're putting out there where we want the truth and the justice. And we'll say this last thing. We want truth and justice, and it matters to have the cameras on it. I'm sorry for the people in the neighborhood that are irritated when the media was there. But that's the reality. That is the reality, sadly. And so I think the media should be there. And I think your eyes on this case matter. And yes, we can say, and a lot of people feel it, and I do too, why Nancy Guthrie? And the point is because of her position in the world, she is but just an example of a bigger picture. And that bigger picture needs to be talked about. And when she comes home alive, and when we find out what was behind this, that will have a lot of discussions behind it. Of course, we're going to celebrate her coming home and being well and healing, but there'll be a lot of points of discussion that matter, that are real life matter. I mean, I'm 56. Do y'all remember when reality TV first came out, what, 20 some years ago, and we were like, that is like the craziest plot. Well, this is real life nowadays. We are a reality TV. This is the world we live in, and it is nuts. And those of us that believe in truth, justice, transparency, the law, criminals being, put to justice, innocent people finding them missing, those of us that believe in that, our voice matters. The ripples are worldwide right now. All eyes are on this case. And so the media being out there, you're watching these things, the pressure to perform. I know it's not fair for the police, but they signed up for it. But the pressure matters because it focuses them on, we better find an answer, because the public ain't going to go away on this. It matters. So I love you all, and I thank you all for being here. Let me know what you want to see next. Love and light. Have a great day. Prayers for Nancy.